Yeah, I think fours are very much inner focused, like into their own imaginations, into their own emotions. And in some ways, it's like, I've read a few different things about like what is really going on, like understanding their own emotions because they don't really understand it. I know like what you're describing. I sometimes enjoy just like going on a roller coaster of, especially like the more romanticized feelings. Feeling like going with the dramatic thing, like feeling like things are part of this larger story. Like I don't know about you, but I feel like I have sort of like, maybe this is just a human thing, but like a movie in my mind about what's going on in my life, which can make things seem way, way bigger and more important than they actually are. Do you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like a character in a movie sometimes, and we're all the leads in our own movie, and then we have our secondary characters, our best friends, and our romantic partners and family and whatnot, and then the extras. I think of it sometimes like that. It's funny. But you did say something like maybe this is just a human thing, and I feel like that's very evolved of you as a four, because
fours, for the general, for those of you, like, I got to remember to like bring in, for those who don't know nothing about the four, that they can be very self-absorbed and want to feel so special that saying something like everyone is like this, it hurts.
Fours, we tend to think that we are different than the rest, whether it's below or above. So it's like, oh, they're shallow and I'm not. I care about things that matter. And then we put ourselves above it. Or, oh, they're cool and they're able to just talk to other people naturally, and they're, they know what they mean when they say it right away, and they say appropriate answers instead of like weird answers, and I'm messed up, I'm weird, why can't I be like that? So it's like either way you're separating yourself from them, the people. But I think once you are able to see that you're more like them and they're more like you, and we're all just people and love, then it actually feels better that way. But at first I think it threatens your ego, and it's hard to shift into that new perspective.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because that's what Enneagram, like a lot of the original Enneagram teaching is about, like ego fixation. So a lot of the problems of each type are because there's something that their ego is focused on that's meant to preserve it, And so I think with the ego fixation, don't have it in front of me, but I'm just like guessing it's something like being special, being unique, being other, and
having a significant role or impact.
Being able to differentiate yourself so you don't just feel like one of the extras, and it's you brought up like you either feel below or above people, and I feel like it's both, like all the time. Like I have some great talents that no one else has, but I also have these basic things that everyone else seems to have figured out, and I just can't do it. I think both of those things could have some truth, but also have falsehoods in them, because ultimately it is just like an ego fixation. I'm going to start overusing the phrase now, because it is. A lot of stuff with the ego is just like what we tell ourselves to get by, whether it's true or not.
It almost forms as it's like a defense mechanism from childhood, because we were told, what is wrong with you? Why are you throwing these tantrums? Or why are you feeling these feelings? And then we internalize it, and then we ask ourselves the question, what is wrong with us? Later, when we self-parent in a maybe harmful way. And so then we use it, and it's like, instead of what's wrong with me, it's like I'm different, and then we own it, and then it's like it turns into almost a ego fixation.
Yeah.
I am weird. It's less about the external things. It's less about the specific quirks that my ego portrays, and more just about how I treat people, or,
Yeah, it's about the actual ways in which you are behaving with others, like as a group, that really defines who you are in that social situation. I feel like I just said something that didn't make sense, but it made sense to me. But yeah, it's like we focus so much on... I'm
experiencing that too.
Yeah, it's weird because the fours think, well, we're so deep, man. But then we do focus on these shallow things like, what am I going to wear or whatever. And yeah, I think to me, what you brought up made me think of how I have sort of thought about this is like everyone else is playing this game that I'm not good at. And so I have to play my own game that will go around, that get to the same place that I want to be at, but isn't competing with them because I can't compete. Like there's just no chance. Especially like in social situations, I'm like, all I have is I can't just jump in, or this is what I told myself. I can't fit in. Like I can't just go into a group of people and have a conversation. People aren't going to like me if I am just trying to play the game everyone else is playing. So my strategy was to just take myself out of it, not so that I would stay isolated, but to show people, like almost to attract people to me, like to kind of pull them away from their normal game in a way. Like I keep calling it a game because I guess that's just how I thought it. It's like everyone else,
but a game.
Yeah, everyone else gets it, and for some reason I don't. So I have to step outside of it and try to get people to come to me and make it seem like. And in some ways, I think people thought maybe I was cool because of that, but it really came from a place of not feeling good enough. So it's so weird, though, to talk about this stuff because...
It's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because it feels... Go ahead.
It's very vulnerable, and it's not... It's like, it feels like me, but it's really not me anymore. I think a lot of it is intentionally working on yourself, because I never intentionally tried to become better, like internally, until fairly recently. So, and I think that's why, like,
that?
What was that?
What sparked that in you?
I think just getting into typology, really. Actually, what it was. It was after that. I started doing typology, and then I went through a period where I was just like, I had really terrible anxiety. I went through like a difficult time and couldn't stand to be in my own mind. Like it was just too much. And so then I started to find teachers and stuff through YouTube, even though it's like, some of it is just new age self-help stuff that a lot of people can say like, oh, there's no point to that. That's stupid stuff. Like it helped a lot to like suddenly realize, oh, you're not just stuck in the patterns of your mind. You can change them. You can like totally reframe your perspective in life. And so I think that was the start of me becoming less of a hard four, which before we hit record, we were talking. It couldn't have been before we were talking. I mentioned to you that in my Enneagram video that I made last week, and I said I'm a 4, someone in the audience was like, dude, no way you're a 4. You don't have that dark, brooding, whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And I started to be like, well, am I a 4? Because so much of it is just based on the old version of me. And not to say I've totally transcended all of it, because I do have those moments. Do you still have those moments where all of a sudden you've been going along fine, you're confident, you feel okay with fitting in and everything, and then something happens and it's like, oh, wait a second, no, I'm totally defective and can't relate to people, and they're just like, they're playing the game I can't play, you know?
Yeah, I have those moments of feeling not in the game, or even it feels more prominent when I'm winning the game or beating the game and have to say so, having to prove to myself, like, I answered the question so quickly, and it was, and it just sounded really natural, or something silly. I'll kind of celebrate these little victories in this game, and a lot of times me and my friends will joke about the four. When I have four moments, I'll just call it out and be like, that was very four, or like, and kind of bring myself down back to human earth. And
welcome to human earth, Molly. Yeah.